You're listening to the LA Football Podcast.
Los Angeles, what is going on? Welcome to the LA Football Show right here on the LA Football Network. Our city, our network, your destination for Los Angeles football. This is your UCLA Bruins segment for all those Bruins fans. Fours up out there, 8-1 on the year after a big win over Arizona, a heart-pounding win the way it came down at the end. But hey, got the win. We moved 8-1. We moved to the top 10 in the polls. We'll see where the Bruins end up in the college football playoff poll that comes out on Tuesday. But at the time of this recording, they are in the top 10 in the AP poll. Ready to get all into it. Joined as always by UCLA alum, my co-host, the Madman, Jamal Madney. What's up, my brother? How we doing?
Doing well, Ryan. Excited to talk about the Bruins one step closer to a date with destiny and a date with the great USC Trojans on November 19th.
Yeah, cannot wait. That's a great segue to promote a new mini-series we're doing on the LA Football Network, the Victory Bell Selection Show, we are calling it. It's a super fun mini-series, 4-part. We already recorded episode 1. We got episode 2 coming out on Tuesday evening, episode 3 coming out the week before or the Tuesday before the game, and episode 4 culminating live at the Rose Bowl on November 19th. You got Jamal Madney, my co-host. You got Will Decker, host of the Bruin Bible. You got former Trojan Alfred Rowe, his co-host on To Salute to Troy, Phil Robinson, and yours truly hosts the witty banner between the four of them. It's a fun show, so you got to make sure to check that out. Victory Bell Selection Show on the LA Football Network. It's, we just break down everything to do with these two teams, these two great programs, and what this great 2022 showdown is going to entail. But today we are talking about this win over Arizona, which overall was a good win, Jamal. Obviously, some things to clean up. We talked on our USC segment about the things USC needs to clean up on defense. UCLA has very kind of similar needs, wants, and must-haves heading into this Victory Bell game because of how great both offenses are. So I want to turn to you about your initial reaction. First, though, got to really quickly, as always mentioned, sponsor the show, BetOnline. Head to betonline.ag today. Use the promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV. You get a 50% welcome bonus on your first-time deposit. You put in, let me choose a good numerical number here because I'm bad at math. You put in $50, you're going to get 25 free dollars. I almost said 25, Jamal, and then I had to do math, and I was like, wait, 13.5, I think is what that, 12.5, is that what that comes out to? So put in 50, you get 25 back for free to bet on your favorite LA football team or any sport. You can bet on politics if you really want to. The vote is tomorrow. Hate politics, but hey, go vote. Tuesday, it's your right. Go vote. BetOnline, though, has everything you need. Use the promo code BELIEVE. Tell them the guys at the LA Football Network sent you. So, Jamal, 3 minutes into the show, I feel like I've been talking way too much already. UCLA pulls out the win in the desert at Arizona State. Underrated stadium out there in Tempe, built into the side of the hill, but they get the win 50-36. High scoring, high octane, some mistakes, but some miraculous and magical plays made by some of the great UCLA Bruins players. What were your initial reactions for this big win?
Couple things, Ryan. First, I'll start with a little bit, something that's a little bit off the wall, a little bit, that's something that folks who are into astrology and numerology may start with. And that is, I saw this from the UCLA football report on one of the Twitter feeds of one of the great UCLA followers, that the last 2 times now that UCLA has gone to Tempe, 2020 and 2022, they've jumped out early. Arizona State has scored 18 consecutive points, and then UCLA needed to score a touchdown with a 2-point conversion to put the game away. Exactly the same script the last 2 times. In 2020, the final score was 25-18. This year, it was 50-36, exactly double. Both teams scored exactly double the number of points as they did the last time. So I thought those were some fun facts there. But Ryan, outside of the fun facts, I think a couple things really stand out to me. The first is you can't talk about this game for more than a sentence without highlighting 402 rushing yards for the Bruins of UCLA without the best running back in America. And there were 4 predominant rushers in this game. All 4 ended up with career highs. When you talk about 137 yards rushing for Kaz Allen, 120 yards for DTR, 98 yards on 12 carries for Keegan Jones, and then 43 yards for Colson Yankoff. Put that together, 402 yards. And that, truthfully, was a bit of a statistical anomaly because on the second possession of the game, DTR gave Kaz Allen a little flip pass in the backfield itself. That could have easily been a handoff for another 40-plus yards. So UCLA was pretty close to 450 yards rushing in that game. Second, I think the defense obviously much maligned in the second half for their poor tackling, their struggles. But there was that middle part of the game in that sequence where Arizona State came empty on 5 consecutive possessions, 4 punts in the end of the half. And so that was the part of the game where I thought UCLA's defense was excellent. Darius Muasau really was able to impart his will on this game. 12 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and was really able to disrupt what Arizona State wanted to do. And then third is just the overall command, Ryan, that I think Chip Kelly has of this offense. And he's really becoming a chess player, understanding the necessary pieces on the board to get ready for November 19th. Last week was all about resetting DTR. This week was all about bringing the athlete out of DTR again. The hurdle, the mini hurdle, all of the great things that he was doing running the ball, engaging with the fans, engaging with his teammates, and then being able to showcase a variety offensively where bringing Kaz Allen in the backfield now, and there's a potential thunder and lightning backfield combination with Kaz Allen and Charbonnet for the second half of this November stretch, which really is tantalizing. So Bruins get through a game that a lot of people believe could have been a trap game in Tempe. Arizona State with their new quarterback. Bourget was outstanding in that game, but bottom line, they get through. It wasn't the prettiest. That last drive, Colson Yankoff really securing that win with a 23-yard run and then a 1-yard touchdown run to seal the deal was imperative. And now the Bruins are just 1 game away from the great game with SC. No letdown so far after that Oregon game. I know a lot of folks were worried about it. There was some scar tissues there. So UCLA taking care of their business 1 week at a time. And we're back into the top 10 with still everything to play for. Going into November, UCLA has an opportunity for a Pac-12 title, a Rose Bowl berth, heck, even maybe an outside CFP berth. And we would have taken that, Bruin fans, 11 times out of 10 at the start of this season.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, what a special performance from this offense. And, you know, what they were able to do on the ground, Jamal, is, you know, I don't want to say speechless because obviously we're here to talk, but it's impressive considering everything you just said. But the fact that, you know, the best running back in America in college football, I mean, he would have ran for 300 by himself had he been in this game. And what they were able to do on the ground, what Chip Kelly did play calling wise, and what we were seeing from the players that maybe haven't been showcased yet in this offense. We've talked a lot about Kaz Allen, how special he is, but we haven't seen the Kaz Allen potential that we expected yet, mainly because they haven't really needed it. But this was his coming out party, right? Like Zach Charbonnet, fully dressed in warmups. No one knows what's going on. Typical UCLA Chip Kelly fashion. They don't even tell the TV crew what's happening. We kind of come to the conclusion that he tweaked something in warmups where he probably could have gone had it been like the Pac-12 title game or against USC, but figured, hey, we got some other horses that can run in this race. We'll let them shine. And obviously that was the case. And they, you know, it hurts obviously Charbonnet's Heisman hopefuls, which disappoints me selfishly, but from a team perspective, from a perspective of this team trying to do more special things than individual accolades, it's better. And I think it shows a lot, in my opinion. Maybe people aren't talking about this a lot, but I've always had a respect for Chip Kelly anyway. But for me, I almost gained more respect for Chip Kelly because had Charbonnet had a slight tweak and had Chip Kelly said, we need you in this game to play, and had he then tweak became a tear or a pull, and not only ruined the season for Charbonnet for UCLA, but potentially hurts his draft stock in the NFL. And I think Chip Kelly had the best interest of his players saying, you know what, he probably could have gone. We probably could have used him. But this is a kid that came back to this program knowing that he had unfinished business with UCLA. But I, as a coach and as a mentor and as a quote unquote father figure, not saying anything about Zach Charbonnet's personal father, but just as a football coach, a father figure, have a right and a duty to this kid to care about his future. And so I have a lot of respect in that regard. I mean, maybe that had nothing to do with his decision, but I'm going to say it does, because that's what we do on this show. And we look at the positives, and I know we have a lot of respect for Chip, and I know Chip does have a lot of love and care for his student athletes. And I think hopefully if we ever get him on the show, he would say that, but we'll say he does. So I think that's the point. But seeing what Kaz Allen was able to do, Jamal, not only with, as you mentioned, the 137 yards on the ground on only 11 carries, 12.5 yards per carry, but also second in the team in receiving with 63 yards. So almost a 200-yard from scrimmage day just from running and receiving. And that is what we've been wanting to see from him, Jamal. We've been wanting to see him unleashed because we knew the talent. And the last time we saw him unleashed was against USC last year, when he had, the kickoff returns, had some of the sprawling catches and whatnot. And so seeing that now 2 weeks up until USC, it's like we're seeing the perfect timing. You keep mentioning that. Chip Kelly is kind of like unleashing his guys at the right time. And this is another instance in that where they absolutely needed it in this game, not having Charbonnet, but now they've seasoned him and he's ready and oiled and, gets the kinks out and ready to rock and roll now, 2 games leading into the biggest one of the season. So couldn't be more thrilled. I'll talk more about the offense, but I'll toss it back to you so we don't just go monologue. But huge win and a great performance from Kaz Allen, and a really, really good coaching performance, in my opinion, by Chip Kelly, fundamentally, schematically, but also on the personal level of protecting Zach Charbonnet.
No, Ryan, I love everything you just said here. And with Kaz Allen, we've been waiting for it. Ryan, if you recall, it was the question we asked Chip Kelly at Pac-12 Media Day. What is it going to take for Kaz Allen to take that next step, to become the Percy Harvin, to become the DeAnthony Thomas in the Chip Kelly offense, where that variety of being able to catch out of the backfield and run from the backfield is really optimized? And we saw Kaz Allen week 1 against Bowling Green, 14 catches, 86 yards, and a touchdown. The first offensive touchdown outside of that great DTR run of the whole season. And then we didn't see Kaz Allen get into the end zone until last week against Stanford in garbage time, when he had a beautiful 70-plus yard run. This was the first game that he built upon those 2 performances. And you mentioned, Ryan, it was exactly 200 yards of total offense, the gorgeous long touchdown run. And I thought the 2 critical plays of the game early, when Arizona State scored on their first 2 possessions. DTR's first throw of the game was an interception, much like USC last year. Kaz Allen has a 34-yard run and then a 42-yard little flip reception from DTR in the backfield on each of those first 2 drives to give UCLA that 14-10 lead and settle things down for that defense to set in. And so for Kaz Allen to be ready to rock and roll here, it's really remarkable. And Ryan, we talk a lot about SC in terms of their offense. UCLA's offense, I think, is every bit as good. And if SC's offense is based on depth of talent, I think where UCLA has a signature moment here offensively is the variety of talent. When you talk about the bell cow and Charbonnet, you've got the Swiss Army knife in Kaz Allen. You got a big receiver in Bobo. You got some smaller, twitchier guys in terms of Kam Brown and TMA. And then you got the ultimate wild card in DTR and a beautiful track star in Keegan Jones in the backfield as well. Just that variety just keeps so many defenses off balance, and it's just absolutely remarkable. And I love what you said about Chip. I think Chip is a great man. Chip is a very sensitive man. I don't think that comes across because he's just not media savvy. He's not an outgoing personality. But I think Chip took it very much to heart that a kid like Charbonnet, who was one of the 3 best running backs in the country last year and would have been one of the top 3 running backs taken in the draft, decided to come back. The most dangerous position in the sport that has the fewest shelf life, the shortest shelf life of any position on the field, decides to come back for unfinished business. He didn't play him against Alabama State. He didn't play him against Arizona State. He only played him a half against Colorado. He only played him a half against South Alabama. He has taken that responsibility that not only do I want to win football games, I have to make sure Zach Charbonnet is healthy and I get him through this season, and I only use him when I absolutely need to, because this kid's future is so, so bright. And Chip talks about those 4 legs of a chair: academic, athletic, spiritual, social. And he has really embodied everything that is great about this university in UCLA. And that's why he is the perfect coach for UCLA. And I tweeted earlier tonight, Ryan, I hope that he stays next 15 years at UCLA and retires next to Terry Donahue's name in the Rose Bowl, because he embodies everything that UCLA is. He gets it. He's innovative. He's gregarious. And he's just the perfect coach for this team on the field and off the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can even see it in those games with Charbonnet when he's having those 190-yard, 8-yard games. And it's like, get him over 200 and he doesn't pull him, like he puts him in. But when it becomes a point where it's like, okay, we've tried now a few times. Last thing I'm doing is risking injury to get 200 and 2 more yards kind of thing. And some people don't like that. And I'm like, I know, I think he's protecting him as a player and stuff like that. And the last thing I'll say about Chip, and then I want to talk about DTR here, then we can get to the defense before we wrap up. But, after, or I think it was today, actually, it may have been in media availability today, was asked about these late start times. I mean, we hate them, these Pac-12 after darks, these 7:30 start times that are just, I mean, they're terrible on being on the West Coast at the games. And obviously no one on the East Coast even watches the games, and was asked about that because they have another 7:30 start tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Saturday against Arizona. And ask how he feels about it. He's like, look, we'll play whenever, but I feel for these kids that they just had 400 yards of rushing and no one saw it and no one's talking about it. And he's so right. He's so true. Like, that should be the talk of the town right now. Like, USC, we did a last segment, has Caleb Williams, has this amazing offense against Arizona State, Jamal, 139 yards rushing. UCLA had 400 yards rushing, and 400 yards rushing, which I don't know has been done on the FBS level this season. And yet it's not getting talked about because it happened at 11:30 at night when the game was over. And so I hate these start times, as annoyed we get with George Kliavkoff, the current commissioner. This was not his doing. This was past regimes that had this media deal. And it's unfortunate. It's annoying for us to have to cover these late games, but it's unfortunate for these kids that don't get recognized because of the special things they're doing. So that's just the last thing. I think, Chip, the fact that he calls that out when other coaches don't, they just say, look, we'll play when we have to play. We'll do it, whatever. And Chip says, no, it's not right for these kids that no one is seeing these accomplishments, these amazing things they're doing on the field, these great performances they're putting out because they're playing at 3 a.m. on the East Coast. Like, it's crazy, Jamal. It's ridiculous. And hopefully, obviously it won't happen anymore for UCLA being in the Big Ten, but hopefully even for these other Pac-12 schools, if the Pac-12 survives, they get that right at least, because these Pac-12 after dark games are ridiculous.
No, Ryan, you're absolutely right. And kudos to Chip for saying it. I think it reveals 2 things. One is that he is truly an empathetic person, and I think that gets lost in just his personality and such an X's and O's kind of math whiz, quantitative, pragmatic guy that he is. And second, I think he's so comfortable right now in his own skin. And as head football coach of UCLA, you don't make those statements, Ryan, if you feel like your job security is in jeopardy or you're unsure of your footing in terms of with the administration, with the team, with your players, with the fan base. I think Chip is oozing confidence right now. And I think that was a great statement that he made. But I also think it's a little tongue in cheek because I think he knows the temperature of his team. I would argue better than any coach knows the temperature of their team right now. And I think he's welcoming the fact that this was 7:30 Arizona is going to be 7:30 again. That UCLA is just flying under the radar, and they could potentially be 9-1 for that SC game and for that home stretch, because I think the ethos of this team, look, the individual awards with Charbonnet, probably not going to happen. He's just missed too many games. We know how great he is. DTR has kind of gone off a little bit of that Heisman pace. He's probably not going to be invited to New York. It's all about team. There's no ego. There's no concern about awards and hardware, and they're not getting the exposure that they probably should. The one game where I think they got almost too much exposure was Oregon, and I think they were tense and tight, and I think they were a little bit out of character, especially DTR. So even though Chip said it, I think he said it to defend his players, but I think secretly he's thrilled to death about this. The more UCLA can kind of go under the radar, this seems to be the ethos of this mighty Bruins team as being that ultimate underdog. And I think they're going to be able to preserve that identity this week and then going into SC week.
Yeah. Very, very good point. So I want to wrap up with some DTR talk, but first got to mention our friends at Liquid Death. Great mountain spring water. If you're seeing those tall boy cans in the water section, they're not beer, they're not energy drinks, but it is delicious mountain spring water from the Alps. They're doing more to kill plastic bottle pollution. Every can sold, they donate 10% to end plastic bottle solution is the hopeful goal. Kill it, as they say. And obviously, when you drink out of a can, you're going to murder your thirst is their slogan. So head to liquiddeath.com/LAFB to find the nearest location to you to pick up a case, or you can just go to any Whole Foods, Ralph's, Vaughns, 7-Eleven, wherever you get your groceries or convenience, and they are at. So that is liquiddeath.com/LAFB. Tell them the guys at the LA Football Network has sent you. You won't regret it. It's great. It's cool. A lot of podcasts are drinking it. We love it, and it's for a good cause as well. So make sure to check that out. So Jamal, we're running out of time, so we won't get to touch on the defense too much. I know the defense struggled a little bit there for a period of time. Obviously, great playmakers on this defense with Latu and Muasau and some of these great guys. And I think when push comes to shove, they've, outside of that Oregon game, really stepped up, and they've made plays when they had to. It got a little hairy there in this Arizona State game, but they were able to get it done when they really needed to. But I wanted to end this show with more DTR talk. I know we do it a lot, obviously, as the quarterback. But I want to pose this to you, because the season he's having, and this is obviously his last season. He's going to go into the draft, and we'll have plenty to talk about him once the season's over, about the draft, where we want to focus on the now. But I still keep hearing people say, he's probably going to be, at most a late round pick, maybe a walk on. He's probably with the talent he has, the intensity he has, he'll probably make the team as like a roster spot, as a practice squad guy, maybe as a third string bubble guy. But the more I'm watching him, Jamal, and seeing the maturation, seeing the throws he's making, seeing the intensity he has, seeing what he can do with these legs, which is, I know on broadcast they talk about it, but nationally it's not getting talked about enough. I don't know why this can't be a Jalen Hurts like quarterback. And we've seen what Jalen Hurts now has become in the NFL, who wasn't even really drafted to be a starter. I think obviously Howie Roseman in Philadelphia liked what he saw in Jalen Hurts, hence the end of the Doug Peterson era, the end of the Carson Wentz era, because maybe Howie Roseman was pushing for that. But now we're seeing Hurts really be successful because the offense has been tailored around his skill set and allowing him to run the football, pass the football to his ability, not force him to be that pocket type guy. And we've seen what DTR can do now. That I'm not saying Chip has changed it all, but now year 5, really getting into his own skin, feeling comfortable, feeling confident with the X's and O's. I haven't watched enough film comparing the two. You're a better draft expert than me, Jamal. You guys do the drafts in session. But just seeing the success that he's having, seeing the talent that he has, seeing the ability with his legs and the arm, I don't see why he's not getting any of this quote unquote Jalen Hurts type hype. Am I crazy, or is that something that can maybe unfold the next 6 months?
No, Ryan, I think it's a brilliant point, because their skill sets are very similar. I think the critique of Hurts in college was the same critiques of DTR today, where Can he go through his progressions? Can he read defenses? Can he stay composed and methodically move an offense down the field without the spectacular play? And I think you've clearly seen this year the jump in DTR of being able to go through different progressions. It was a slow start this year, albeit, and I think he really unleashed against Utah and Washington. And I think he has the ability to unleash again later in the season. But I completely agree with you. And I think DTR has all of the skill sets to really be a sneaky good undrafted free agent or a late round pick and in the right situation. And I think what the Eagles did really well with Hurts is to draft Devonta Smith, to trade for AJ Brown, and to still be very run heavy in their system. I mean, Jalen Hurts right now through 9 games of the season only has 12 touchdowns, but we think of Jalen Hurts very differently because everything is off of play action. It's much more of a college system that they're running, and they're running it to literally perfection because the Eagles are undefeated. The Ravens are having a real challenge, I think, about what to do with the future of Lamar Jackson. They've franchised him. Don't know if he deserves the big dollars many years down the line. Could DTR go to Baltimore? Could DTR go to a place like the Arizona Cardinals? Could DTR go to a team that's run first and, give them a dimension of being able to run the ball as a quarterback, but also be able to play through play action? Absolutely, I think he can. And when you watch him, he's just so spectacular, Ryan, in terms of his dynamism in the open field, the way he's the emotional leader of this team, the way he engages fans, the way he wants to bring more noise and attention onto himself. He's really been the most dynamic offensive personality UCLA football has ever had. And I sort of make the comparison a little bit, Ryan, where if Caleb Williams is like Steph Curry, Dorian Thompson Robinson to me is like another UCLA great. He's like Russell Westbrook, where everything is just that raw passion, that raw tenacity, that hatred, that adversity. And he just wants to unleash all of these emotions onto his opponents and inspire his team. And I see no reason why he can't do that at the next level in the right situation. He's one of those prospects where it's not a can't miss. It doesn't matter who the team is, what the system is, who the coach is. It's going to really matter in DTR's case. But if he gets the right situation, a Baltimore, an Arizona, a Philadelphia type of situation, a Pittsburgh type situation. I'm not saying they've got young quarterbacks, but those teams that think run first, even potentially the Seattle Seahawks, even the Broncos, your Broncos, we're off of that zone run game. Can they do some play action and have an athletic quarterback? All of those types of teams, I think, should be giving DTR a really good look because at the end of the day, Ryan, there's 5 guys in the NFL that I would say are truly elite at the quarterback position today, and every other team could use a quarterback. And so you got to look for it wherever you can find it. And I do think he's being grossly underrated for 2 reasons. One is he shares a city with arguably the number 1 pick in the 2024 draft. And B, I think having been there 5 years, there's a lot of residual over his first 4 years, but there's, I think, a little bit of a stain and a stigma where, if you were that good, you didn't need to be in college 5 years. And so I think there's a lot of preconceived narratives about DTR. I think once he gets to the combine, once he does some of these drills, and once he gets into some of these camps, all of those preconceived narratives are going to go away, and you're going to see a prodigious talent on the field.
Yeah, and probably the fact that they play at 7:30 every night doesn't help either. So I'm sure that has a factor as well. But special talent, man, it's fun, Jamal, watching, even last year, as recent as last year, I remember being like nervous every time. Like, all right, what's going to happen? Like, are we going to see the good DTR or the bad DTR? And I feel like this year, like there has been so little bad DTR, and, credit to him for putting in the work, putting in the film study, the maturation, the leadership, all that. And, we can credit coaches and players, teammates as well. But, it comes down to the individual to really harness that talent and harness that skill set and put it, your best foot forward. And I think we've seen it in spades this year, and it's very exciting. And I can't wait to see how these last few games play out, all culminating on that November 19th Rose Bowl matchup with the USC Trojans. And if they get past that and go to the Pac-12 title, and if they win that Pac-12 title, Jamal, I truly believe they will be in the college football playoff, which what a way to go out for DTR. And if he gets to that point, he's going to go from a November 7th potential undrafted free agent or 6th or 7th round pick to maybe this is like a 3rd round, 4th round guy that we can really develop. Like, look at what's transpired here. So, I think everything we've been saying now for quite some time, all of a sudden nationally will start getting recognized. So with that,
right, he's so close. He's so close to making such history. He's 400 yards away from the UCLA all-time total offense record that Brett Hundley had. UCLA's at 8 wins. Everyone forgets the school record, single season school record for number of wins for UCLA is 10. So if they just beat Arizona and just beat Cal, not including the SC game, not including a possible Pac-12 championship game, not including a possible bowl game, they will have tied it and potentially with an opportunity to break it. And just all of these things that he's so close to right now, and to be a UCLA legend, we're literally watching history in the making here for UCLA football. Ryan, it's been 24 years that since UCLA has won this conference, and they'll have an opportunity to potentially get that chance November 19th if they can win that game. And they haven't won the Rose Bowl, Ryan, in 37 years. I was 2 months old the last time UCLA won the Rose Bowl. And so there's just so much history on the line, and he is on the cusp of becoming the modern day UCLA legend. And I think that's not lost on him. And I think he's just so focused right now and in the moment, because Ryan, you can have a great pro career, but unless you're Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, it's those college years that you're going to remember the most. And I think DTR will, even if he has a really good pro career, I hope he does. I wish him nothing but success. I'm going to be rooting for the guy, one of my favorite players. Even if he plays 8-10 years in the league, you're going to remember his UCLA days as those legendary years, the way you do with Leinart, the way you do with Barkley, and the way you do with Sanchez and all those SC guys, the way you do with Brett Hundley, the way you do with Josh Rosen. So all those guys played in the NFL, but you remember them for their college years. And he's so close to etching his name as just a true legend of UCLA football. And I hope he gets there, because that kid deserves it so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he will get there. So special kid, special talent. And it's exciting to see where his career will unfold. But hey, we still got, a few games here in the month of November, still got the potential December 2nd Pac-12 title game. And obviously UCLA will host the University of Arizona Wildcats on Saturday. They get past Arizona State Sun Devils, which we talked a little about the game, more about just the beauty of this team, but they get past 50 burger they put up on Arizona. This is a special offense. We will definitely have the preview for you of the University of Arizona game later in the week. Make sure to stay tuned for that. Make sure to text in to join our exclusive community. All you got to do is text UCLA to the number 31032. Exclusive offers, content, events, all that good stuff is where you will get from joining that list. So for Jamal Madney, I am Ryan Dyer. This is the LA Football Show, UCLA Bruins segment. Thank you all for tuning in. Go Bruins. We'll talk to you all here in a few days for the preview of the Wildcats.